You know, um, some people say, why keep streaming to an empty room? And you know, I think in response to that, I would just say, well, it's really just the start of something very exciting and something extremely popular. And that's how I feel about this whole thing. I think it's been a very successful experiment. I think it's been pretty great so far. And yeah, I'll only stay on for a little bit longer, maybe until 7:30 or so. Yeah, that's fine. Till about 7:30 or so. And go from there. But yeah, the idea is to make this a weekly scheduled stream for Wednesday evenings for the foreseeable future. We're still not completely sure on the time, but if we find a time that works for a lot of people, great, and we'll keep up with that. So, let us know what you think if you feel like it. On the regular episodes, we usually talk almost exclusively about Bob's Burgers. Obviously, that hasn't come up a whole lot here on the very first stream, but I don't know. I still think it's fun. It's fun to talk and spend time with friends, even if it's over the online. So it's good. It's good. It's been a nice little experiment, like I said. And for the last few minutes here, I'm just gonna draw whatever I want, I think. And that usually means going with some kind of oil brush, because I think working with fake oils on a computer is a lot of fun. What should we draw? What should we do here? Well, I could definitely do one of my classic. Let's just work on the background right now. So I just want like a brown. I just want a brown for the bottom part. This is just in the background. Okay. Oh, look how long it's taken to load those lines. That's not great. Can you tell I've kind of been in the market for a new graphics card? It's certainly been on my mind. I think that's probably what would help me out here, although I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's a processing thing, maybe not. But wow. This is going to be tricky. I want to turn up the mix too. No, please finish doing that so I can do this. No? Okay. Oh gosh. Nope. Come on. I guess I threw down way too many lines, you guys. That's my fault. I should have known that it would take this long to have them work out. Okay. Just turning up the mix, because I like when the fake oils mix really well. Very heavily. Too much. Oh, too much, Mike. Slow down. Your poor little laptop is trying its best, but what can you possibly expect? Oh, man. Okay. And this is going to be fan art too, in a way, although it's not going to be a drawing of a cartoon character necessarily. I'm going to do a really quick, rough version of, what is it called? There's a painter named Philip Guston. think it's how it's pronounced. Active, I think 50s, 60s, 70s for the most part. Started out as kind of an abstract expressionist guy, and then over time really reshaped his whole thing and his whole vibe, and ended up creating this interesting little character. I don't know if it had a name, but it basically just a big eyeball. Just a big eyeball with one big eyelid. And I guess it was mostly pink. I'm trying to find it good. It's okay. That's fine. We're going to have to lay it down pretty heavy because we already have a lot of quote-unquote paint here. Actually, no, we won't. We'll just put it on the next layer. There's kind of a legitimate Photoshop tip. Use layers as often as you can and keep them pretty well organized, because I don't, and it causes problems. Okay. That's the general shape. Let's fill it in real quick. Look how much faster it's going now. This is great. This is the performance I've been looking for. Okay. All right. Yeah. And when I'm working with digital oils, I do find it helpful to do white instead of trying to leave the canvas blank in a certain part. Actual lines is, no, is it gonna, there we go. Actual lines, I should have named the other one, okay. And I just wanted to do some quick detail so that I know what I'm doing here, or at least know what I'm doing a little bit in terms of kind of the layout. Oh, color. There we go. I should really take some lessons at some point, because I would prefer to do this well. And that's just not where we're at right now. A little bit of detail. This is already pretty messy. That's okay. This is art stuff. Okay. I needed the pressure thing. That does help a little bit. Okay. And then he just kind of has a big pupil up here. Does he? I think so. Okay. Now we'll go back to this one and do some white, but with the oils again. I should really have these saved to a shortcut or something. I don't know. Yeah, so we'll still have some of the pink in there for sure. I just want to make it clear that this space is, yeah. So like I said, this is not a character from Bob's Burgers. It would be nice if he got some kind of weird cameo. That would be an interesting episode. But I don't think that's in the cards. And I'm even forgetting what this guy has for his other features. He has these, that's most of them, is the big eye. But he also has like, no, come on now. He also has like, I think cartoonist is up. Yeah. As like, no, oh shoot. He has like a little bit of the weird stubble here, because this is supposed to be like his chin, you know? You know, you get the idea. Let's give him a quick outline too, just for the sake of organization. Kind of like a pencil holder. Remember pencil cases and pencil holders and how important those were in like 3rd grade? Wow. What was the, oh shoot, there was like one company that made all the good ones. I'm trying to remember what they were called. What were they called? I can see like the logo in my head. That's how much time I spent just staring at the top of my pencil case in, I don't know, 4th grade or something. In Mrs. Fisher's class. She was 5th grade, actually, but are those pipes that the mic is picking up? Hope you're enjoying that. Don't you love to hear strangers' pipes on the internet? Maybe some people do. Anyway, yeah, what was that company called? It wasn't like Crayola or anything. Like, I don't think it was a company that also did markers and pencils and pens and crayons and stuff. But I am really curious now. Let's give him a background too. How about, just a blue kind of sky background will do for now. With the oils and a very big brush here. Big brush size. Yeah, these long strokes it really has trouble with for some reason. Maybe it's a thing that I'm also streaming. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. I apologize for the strange. It's almost like a weird little animation version we're getting of every single brushstroke, as if I was doing this in slow motion to teach something or other. And what I want to do is mix it with a lot of white here. Maybe it's the brush size that's causing the trouble. I think that's it, because it's just more information, for it to try to process. And the way that we did the scribbles for the sky, it's gonna give us this nice little effect where it'll almost look like we already have clouds going, right? Like this kind of looks like a little gray cloud there. That's nice, little gray cloud. That's a very Bob Rossian thing, isn't it? Maybe this will just turn into a Bob Ross tribute channel. Although I'm sure there are already like 5 million of those, of people just doing his shtick, with a nice like clip-on afro. That would be kind of cool. I'm liking that idea more and more as I think about it, actually. Oh boy. It is tricky not being able to see how the lines turn out until a minute later when they finally decide to show up on the screen. That is an interesting artistic challenge. So I'm gonna bring the brush size down, just so I can, different layer. Okay, I'll do a little bit more in the sky, but you get the idea. We just want them outdoors, because I think that's what we're all kind of fantasizing about right now. Look at this, we're on a nice big open field, a desolate open field, I'll give you. Just dirt, but that's okay. We need dirt too. Grass isn't always important, right? Look at that. And then we'll give those weird little clouds some outlines and a little bit later on. I guess I'm staying on a little bit longer than I intended. That's okay. I know that the frame rate is also still kind of bad, and I apologize for that if anybody happens to be watching right now. It's something I can look into fixing later on, but for now, this is what we're working with. So that's that. It's okay. I just wanted something in the background so that we could get a bit of a contrast against the actual character model that we have working with here. Sure. Yeah, okay. So what do I want to do now? I want to give him some different colors. Or like darker colors, I guess. Not that dark. Mix, I want to turn that up as well. Oh, do I need to turn that up every time? That would be kind of frustrating. Anyway. There we go. Look at that. That's kind of nice. What's up? What's up, Gene? What? Do you want to say hi to everybody? Well, I say everybody, but what I really mean is, do you want to say hi to the webcam? Because that's who we're talking with right now. I kind of like this little color variation on here. Just like touches here. I'll blend that later. I do like being able to blend the colors for sure. It definitely helps me out since I'm not very good at this stuff. It makes it a little bit easier to just lay stuff down and figure out how it's going to look later on. Although this is starting to get a little... I don't know why I'm focusing on this bit so much. Okay. There he is. There's our guy. I know he has other features, but... but what are they? Well, in the meantime, let's do a little bit of detail stuff. You know what's really awful? That I shouldn't mention right now because I'm kind of in some kind of spotlight. Oh, nope, not that color. Is that I can't draw a lot of things very well, but I'm usually kind of okay with clouds. Although the problem with saying that is that I will immediately disprove the statement. Again, I usually prefer working directly on paper, but that's okay. This is fun too. Especially because I don't have a lot of, I don't keep any oils or anything, so. Because Lord knows that gets very expensive. Okay. Anyway, I may as well talk a little bit more about Bob's Burgers. I am wondering if anyone who's tuning in here for a few seconds... oh no. I think the cat is destroying something in the background, but that's okay. It adds ambiance. Because I've been ordering a lot of... what do you call them? Just packages lately for different things, you know, between food and things I need for work and all that kind of stuff. I just have a lot of boxes coming in. It's just fine, but the thing about cats is they tend to enjoy boxes for many different reasons. And my cat is no exception. And in fact, she really enjoys taking out little bits of packaging and just kind of throwing them all over the room. Which, you know, I mean, I don't want to get in the way of anybody's fun, for sure. If that's your thing, just go for it. But at the same time, it can really make a mess. And I have to clean it up. You know, I don't know why it keeps blotting like that. Maybe that's a feature and not a bug, and I just don't know how to use it properly. But I'm just gonna do this, and the package I just got today was something that was not very important at all. I ran out of snacks. I know that's a pretty tough... It's a tough time when that happens to you, but I found a way through it, and I mail ordered a bunch of snacks. And unfortunately, I mean, I was buying in bulk, but the packaging is not in bulk. It's like individually wrapped little bags of chips and stuff, you know, and snack type things. And yeah, that was maybe a bad idea. I mean, it's fine, but at the same time, this sounds like an old man complaint, but like, they give you so little inside those bags, don't they? They give you so little stuff, and so you end up opening multiples within like the same hour, which is fine, but you know, when you're spending the day home alone and you find yourself eventually surrounded in like the individual wrappings of many different snack items, it's not the biggest confidence booster, I guess is what I'll say about that. It's not the biggest thing where you're like, oh wow, I feel good about this day and how I've spent it. It's a little bit more on the other side of the spectrum where you're like, what? Why is this what I ended up doing? Why? Okay, how about this? I don't know. I can't draw much, so I was thinking I'll just draw like little shapes. Let's just all imagine together that this is like a city over here and not cell phone reception bars. And he's walking away from the city. This is like a western or something. This is great. This is really coming to life now. The level of detail in this is like a single panel from a professional storyboard. And I don't mean the quality, I just mean like the level of detail, because I'm not as good as them. I just wanted to bring that up because like this has been like what, 20 minutes or so working on this, and I've just reached this point of vague detail. The pros can do this stuff with two thumbs tied around someone else's thumbs, and never even break a sweat, even with all that thumb nonsense going on. And meanwhile, I'm kind of just over here really taking my time to make something look like it was sketched in 5 seconds. This is great, but it's progress. I used to be even worse than this, if you can believe it. And this is a weird connection to Bob's Burgers, but for a good while, for like a good 6 months or something, I really enjoyed drawing while watching Bob's Burgers, and I don't know why it happened to be that combination. Maybe it was a thing where just like I felt like I had seen every episode so many times that I didn't need to constantly have my eyes on the screen, right? And as a result, it was like, okay, I'll find something else to do. It almost feels like multitasking then. And so I'd end up doing little sketches and stuff while Bob and his family and Gene and all his good jokes and things happened up on the screen. And I won't say that I learned anything that way, because I don't think I was trying to educate myself so much on art and drawing, but it was a really nice way to be creative and have a creative outlet and kind of feel like you were getting something done, even if you weren't really. So yeah, I would draw during Bob's Burgers episodes, and maybe it also helps that like, watching it something animated as opposed to live action, it's a little bit inspiring, right? In terms of the visual art stuff, it's kind of like, yeah, that does look like fun, and what a nice skill it must be to be able to draw whatever you're thinking in your head and have it turn out the way you pictured it. I think that's pretty neat. I know a couple people who are capable of doing that, but for the most part, it's just kind of a thing that seemed like a magical power that I don't happen to have at the moment. Kind of like musical ability too. But truth is, you just practice it for a long old time. It starts to come around, start to understand everything a little bit more in detail, and that's really exciting too. I've only had that happen with a couple things. I don't know. I'm okay at writing, so I guess it kind of happened with that. Or when you're first learning an instrument and it starts to come together a little bit, and you're like, oh, I can play like songs that other people have written, and it kind of sounds the way it's supposed to. I think that can be fun. It's a fun moment, Oh, I know he has these like wrinkles in his forehead, if we can call it a forehead. Although I haven't really left room for that, so that's as good as it's gonna get there. Can we do like, I just want a little bit of detail around him so it doesn't look like he's floating in the void, and maybe just on the horizon here, do a little bit of just an outline. Do you guys remember the episode of Ed, Edd and Eddy where they the gimmick of the episode was that they were breaking the fourth wall? Although at the time, whenever that aired many years ago, I didn't know what that meant. But I knew that I'd seen it before in like, wasn't there an episode of Looney Tunes where they do that too? I think there is. Where like Daffy Duck is arguing with the animator I'm pretty sure that was a thing, but I'll have to do my research later on. I just want the oils, please. Thank you. I have to change the mix again because I didn't save any presets because messing around. No. Oh, even more mix. Give me as much mix as you please. I'm just touching up the clouds. You have the color I want? Yeah. Is it working? Is it happening? It doesn't look like it's doing anything, does it? Is this do I need it to be more? Nope. How's this? Okay, it is doing something. I think it's just mixing more than anything else because I turned up the mix. That's a good detective work, Mike. That's really good detective work that you worked that one out for yourself. I'm gonna make it way darker because it's really not showing up. And it still looks like it's not showing up. What's the... Oh, man. There's just so much. Oh, you know what, then? Do I want to do that? Let's turn the mix down. Nope. No. Oh. Remember that one, everybody? Pretty exciting, huh? Pretty exciting. Can I fix this, please? No. No. No, guess not. That's all right. Now it shows up. Now it's coming in. I just wanted to do this for the sake of shading on like the undersides of the clouds, and let's just say the light's coming from over here because we have the shadow back here. So the back ends of these clouds will be done up just a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of nice, right? Okay. I'm trying to remember. There was another art show I used to watch that was not Bob Ross, and I remember watching it when I was growing up. And I think it was like at a barn or something. There was a barn involved somehow. What was that? It's one of those things where you almost think that like a show from your childhood maybe didn't exist because you can't remember anything about it or like any details that are Googleable, you know? So when someone asks you about it, you're just like, oh, you know, it had that guy, and there are those commercials for Hooked on Phonics, and that's it. And you know, that doesn't give them a lot to go on because that pretty much describes every show that was on Nickelodeon in the mid-90s. Anyway, that's actually how it was for a long time for me for Nick Arcade. I now know the name of that show and that it did exist, but back in I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was trying to explain the concept of that show to somebody, and I was like, yeah, they would like go inside a video game at the end and like do the video game, and it looked so cool, and like everybody wanted to be on it, but nobody remembered it. Everyone remembered, you know, the big one, Double Dare and Double Dare 2000 and Legends of the Hidden Temple, and oh god, this is now a nostalgia rant, but anyway, no one knew what that show was, or maybe I wasn't describing it very well, so it just didn't go through. And years later, I finally was able to track it down. It's like Nick Arcade, and all of a sudden it seemed like everyone else remembered it too. Like, oh yeah, I knew that one the whole time. But that was great. Ooh, what a great show. If only we could stream episodes of that, but I don't think that's legal. I also don't know if they are anywhere anymore. Do people care enough about that one to maintain its online presence? I think the host guy is still around, although I don't remember his name. He was still like an early teen when that was airing, so, you know. He's a good bit older than me, I suppose, but... How are these super detailed clouds going? Again, from a distance, it's not quite so bad. Like, if you really... We'll do the zoom out again. It's nice. It's like a postage stamp size. Looks like it kind of makes sense, but, you know, not so much when we get in a little bit closer. Should we do a shadow? Let's do a shadow, but let's do it on the oils layer, this second oils layer, let's do it there. Just because I don't want to fight with this other stuff, and I don't want to do it just as a regular line. This is good, yeah, because now it shows up right away. It's nice and easy. I don't know how long it should be. I don't know science well enough to figure that one out, but it's a shadow. You've seen shadows, you know how it is. And while we're on the topic of shadows and 90s television, I have a connection there. Just that one episode of Rugrats where they are on, they always get abandoned somewhere, and the kids in this one, they're abandoned in some like horrible, miserable playground on a hot day. So to them, it feels like the desert or like an old west town. So that becomes the gimmick for the episode. And at no shadow time, the mean kid's going to show up and bully everybody and take their stuff. And their juice, I think? Yeah, because they're all like dying of thirst. It's so hot. And I can't tell you exactly why, because I don't know myself, but the I always kind of got freaked out by that episode. Like, I really didn't like it. There was something about it that was very sinister, and I had a tough time watching it. So whenever that one came up, because, at the time we were not choosing the episodes we wanted to watch. They just came up, and you'd watch the same 5 episodes of SpongeBob over and over and over again. And while we're going off the rails, I'll go ahead and talk about SpongeBob, because here's the thing I recently realized about SpongeBob. When I was growing up, I always felt like I was watching the same 10 or so episodes over and over and over and over, and you'd see them so many times that you memorize every single line and every beat and every music cue and all that stuff. But when I went back and looked, I was like, I watched that show for years. I bet I watched, like, I don't know, the first 6 seasons or something, and I absolutely did not. And I don't know if it had something to do with their production schedule or what, but I did watch it for years. And yet, I only saw maybe the first 3 seasons tops, like, ever, in all my childhood and years of watching it. And yeah, it's a cartoon, and they were very long seasons too, for sure. But, like, good Lord. They were really just pulling episodes from the first couple of seasons, and I saw them so many times, and anything past that, I don't recognize at all, and I don't know what it is. And it kind of freaks me out, because I don't like the new stuff at all very much. Is it still running? That was always another big question as a kid. Like, you never knew if a show got canceled, because your only clue that it wasn't canceled is if they graced you with a new episode. And that was it. That was your only hint whatsoever. And certainly feels different now. Now we know what seasons are. It took me a long enough time to learn that shows are split into seasons, which is usually on a per year basis, which may as well bring us back around to Bob's Burgers. And this is season 10, right? Season 10? And the big question on my mind, I don't know if you guys have been listening to the show at all, if you listen to the podcast or not, but on a good number of episodes that cover the show in the 10th season, we do kind of talk about, like, the possibility of this being the end of the run for the show, or like towards the end of their run, which is due in part to, like, for sure the quality of the show has changed a bit. I'm not going to say that it's always worse, but it is different. And it's really hard to figure out how well the show is doing on different levels. Like, it's hard to find exact ratings for every episode and get viewership numbers for that. It's hard to figure out how many people watch exclusively on streaming services, because Hulu has a deal with them, right? And they post all the new episodes there as well. And I just don't know. I don't know if the show is doing well, and I don't know if the network is keen on keeping it running for a long time. Especially since we look to the other shows in the so-called Fox animation domination, right? Which is, the big ones are Simpsons, Family Guy, and now Bob's Burgers. And they seem to want to keep those shows on for as long as possible. Like, at this point, The Simpsons obviously is kind of a weird legacy thing, right? Like, I think they just want to keep setting records for how long it's been on the air, you know? And then Family Guy, even Seth MacFarlane, is that what his name is? MacFarlane? That guy who did the Old West movie with Charlize Theron. He said in the past, like, I kind of wish the fans would let the show die. But obviously it stayed popular with small children and middle schoolers and stuff and people all around the world for long enough that they're just like, whatever, it's still making money, keep it on the air, it'll be fine. So, you know, the question is, because obviously Bob's Burgers is a good chunk younger than both of those shows, and it's unclear whether it's still viable for Fox or if they want to keep it going. Obviously now Fox is under Disney's purview after the buyout as well, so that adds like another little element of mystery and extra factor there. And I personally, I have no idea. I don't know if the show will continue for many more seasons after this one, but especially with them having the movie coming out, it seems so obvious that it's highlighting like one of two things. Either it's highlighting the fact that the show is currently still very popular and that it has a solid audience and that they're willing to keep it on the air, the show on the air for a long time. But at the same time, it could be communicating that, this is it. We want to tie everything off in a nice little bow, and we're gonna finish with the movie, and that's that. You know, we'll all go our separate ways from there. Then you have Central Park, the new Lauren Bouchard show that's going to be coming on Apple TV Plus. It's maybe you saw our videos on that. That's been mildly interesting to talk about lately. Still don't know whether they're planning to do something big with that or if that's going to become a weird kind of spiritual successor to Bob's Burgers, I guess. You know, it could. It feels like a weird spin-off in a way, even though I doubt any of Bob's Burgers characters will be in it. But yeah, it's kind of neat. That could take over, and you know what? I would be fine with that. And this is what I was thinking about earlier, which I should have brought up sooner. I should have written it down too. But I'll just say it now, because I was thinking about ways to, ways in which TV shows, and specifically animated shows, can kind of be put out to pasture, you know, ways that they can be put to rest and finished up. Because when's the last time it even happened? I'm trying to think of like another solid animated big hit show that got canceled, and I'm having a tough time. I guess an easy example, although it was quite a long time ago, is Lauren Bouchard's very first animated show, which was Home Movies. I think we've talked about it before just a little bit, but really fun show, really creative, very kid-centric, you know. But it ended after, 4 seasons, and everyone had the feeling that it ended a little bit too early. And the way in which they ended the show was not the best. It was a little bit abrupt, and it did give you the feeling that they found out mid-season, like, oh, we're done. And we have to, move on now and go our separate ways and things. And so it's always uncomfortable when a show ends that way. So in the hopes of avoiding that kind of scenario, I have been thinking about, okay, how would I want Bob's Burgers to get finished up? If I had my way, and Disney / Fox, what is it now, 20th Century Studios, no Fox, if they said, hey, Mike, we're big fans of the show, and since you're close to Burbank anyway, why don't you come in and just throw some ideas at the wall, and let's talk about how we want to finish this show off, because it's not making us enough money, and we just want to finish it, but in a respectful way. It's really respectful to our fans and especially our online fan base. I think the idea I like right now is the idea of having Central Park serve as a direct spin-off series to Bob's Burgers. And the idea there is just that both shows would, for one, exist in the same universe, right? Oh no, I wanted to do black. I just wanted to add some detail to the shadow, just for kind of a crosshatchy thing going on. So Central Park is essentially taking over for Bob's, and it's not going to be the same show. It can be its own thing, but a spin-off in the sense of like it's in the same world, but we're exploring different characters, and they get to in turn explore different stories and stuff, and it's neat. We see them do all kinds of different things. But if we need those old characters from the other show, we can call them up for a small like ratings boost, So, in that situation, Bob and the family and the whole gang, they're still around, for sure, They're still doing their thing. It's all still happening over there. We don't see it, obviously. But as fans, we get to know, like, they're still out there. They're still having adventures. But, it's addressing the idea of the sad repetition of the show and like how they're kind of running out of ideas by saying, just imagine the rest of their stuff, just know that they're still out there, and you can picture your own adventures that Tina and Louise and everybody are going to go on, and their futures together. You can do that in your own head. And if you want that same style of comedy, but with new, exciting characters and maybe writing that's a little bit refreshed and interesting, and creative, then come on over and watch Central Park, and do that for a while. I think that would be a pretty cool move. It's definitely not something that will ever happen. It's not going down. But I think it's one of the most elegant ways to step away from a show after it's kind of overstayed its welcome in a few ways, right? And I don't know that it's really been done that way before so delicately, but that's what I'm hoping, sort of silently, for Bob's Burgers, because I do like the show, and although I'm not a huge fan of the newer episodes, for the most part, I certainly don't have any ill will, towards the show or anybody on the team. They've done a great job, and they've been doing it for a long time. Like 10 years to run a show is a long time, and it's a lot of stress on everybody, and especially coming up with new ideas that don't stretch the bounds of the characters too far. You don't want the characters to feel like they're completely different people, or that they've been tweaked with so much that they're completely unfamiliar. So could be neat. Never ever gonna happen. And I think I'm just about done with this great little piece for now. And I'm also going to shut down the stream just past 8 o'clock, I think. I'll get on with my evening here. But anyway, the very first stream, if you happen to actually tune in for a little bit, I appreciate that. I'm glad you stopped by. And hopefully next time around, my co-host will be joining me, and we'll do some more stuff that's a little bit closer to what we usually do on the episodes of Insert Burger Pun. But that's about it. Until then, feel free to get in touch with us. You can email us at insertburgerpun@gmail.com. You can try to talk to us on our YouTube channel as well. We don't have our stuff up on other podcast outlets just yet, but we're looking into that right now. Yeah, and we have a lot of ideas for the stream. Weird and fun and just kind of dumb ideas for things to try out. And if you feel like hanging out with us, we'd be happy to have you. So that's that. Have a great night. Enjoy your time indoors. Finding stuff to do, and have a good one.